This is New Mexico's state cookies with a twist. Yes, it's a Biscochitos recipe without lard, and I will also be sharing tips on how to ensure your cookies doesn't spread. So let's get started. To the plain flour, add orange zest, baking powder, salt, and anise seeds. Mix everything well. If you do not find anise seeds, you can also use crushed star anise instead. So let's pause for a moment before we dive into the next stage, which is beating the butter and sugar. We are opting for butter, and here's a crucial detail you need to know. First, its consistency. It should be such that your finger should slide through it effortlessly as seen. And how do we achieve this? Simple, let it come to room temperature. And second, originally the recipe called for lard, which is animal fat, specifically pork fat. But due to its unavailability and considering dietary restrictions, I went on a quest for its substitutes. What did I find? Butter and shortening to be the topmost one. Now, butter adds a luxurious creamy flavor to our cookies, but we must note that its moisture can result in a softer texture compared to lard. This might also lead to more spreading during baking. On the other hand, shortening is the neutral player here, allowing the spices and other ingredients to shine. In terms of texture, it produces a crisper, more tender outcome, and it's excellent for controlling spreading during baking, ensuring a consistent shape. So the ideal choice would be, of course, to use 50-50 of butter and shortening so that we could make the best out of it. But I just couldn't bring myself to use shortening. The one available here had a rather unpleasant smell, and it didn't sit right with me, especially since I was making these for my kids. So sticking to good old butter, and with a few techniques, you can still achieve that delightful taste and texture in our Biscochitos without lard as well. Now that we have clarified our concept, let's move on with the recipe. So beat the butter and sugar until blended. This should take about 2 to 3 minutes. A quick tip here is to avoid overbeating. If you go on for too long, you will be introducing air into the batter, and trust me, we don't want that. It leads to cookies spreading more during baking, and that's not the goal here, right? Another important thing is to use caster sugar in place of granulated sugar when it comes to baking, and specifically these cookies. Being finer in texture, caster sugar dissolves quickly without needing to beat too long. And this goes without saying is to remember to pause in between to scrape the sides of the bowl to ensure an even beating of the two. When this is combined, it's time to add the orange juice, but in 2 batches as seen. Mix well and remember to scrape before each addition. This is also the stage when you add vanilla extract that I forgot and added it later along with the flour mixture. But you do not be like me and add it at this stage itself. Now it's just time to combine the dry into wet. So mix the dry ingredients using a spatula to form a crumbly stage, but eventually you will have to make use of your hands to bring it together into a cohesive dough. And like I mentioned, I added the vanilla extract as you can see in the screen right now, but do not be like me and add it with your butter and sugar. If you find that the dough is way too sticky to handle, do not panic, it is okay. Just add a tablespoon or 2 of the flour and bring it into a dough. Divide this into 2 parts, cling wrap and refrigerate for 30 minutes to overnight. When ready, roll the dough into 1/4 inch thickness and cut using cookie cutters of choice. The other unusual thing about these cookies is that you need to bake them on an ungreased cookie sheet. So do not line the tray with parchment paper or grease it with oil or butter. Directly place the cutout cookie dough onto the baking tray and chill it for a second time for about 20 to 30 minutes. This double chill session is our secret weapon against cookie spreading during baking. Clever, right? Meanwhile, preheat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius or 375 degrees Fahrenheit and combine the sugar and cinnamon powder to make the cinnamon sugar mixture. Bake the cookies in the preheated oven for 10 to 15 minutes or until the sides show a slight golden brown hue and the bottoms are pale brown. Let it sit in the pan itself for 3 minutes and then dip it topside down onto the cinnamon sugar mixture to coat the cookies well. Note that the cookies at this stage should be warm. And that's about it. Enjoy these delicious Biscochitos when completely cooled along with coffee. Check the link in description box to learn how to store them for 2 to 3 weeks. By the way, I learned all these tips from our eggless sugar cookies, also popularly known as cutout cookies that don't spread, by clicking on the screen right now. So I'll see you then. Okay, bye-bye. Take care.